Welcome to Roadtrip WDW. I'm your host, Rebecca Schlau. This is episode 32, and I'm going to be continuing my trip review. Hey, gang. Hope you guys are doing good. I'm going to pick up where I left off. The last episode was just about Universal and all of our experiences there. So after we checked out at Universal, we quickly loaded up our minivan and headed, across town. And before we even checked into the hotel, our first stop was Epcot. We are those people at hotels that we always wait to the last minute to check out. So we pack up the room for about an hour before we leave, and then we head out. So it's usually about 11. Whenever checkout is, that's when we leave, on the dot, maybe 5 minutes after. So at 11 o'clock, that's exactly when Epcot opened. I wanted to maximize our time at the parks because they closed late, and I knew that since we weren't going to be checking out till about 11, I wanted to go to the park that opened the latest because I didn't want to waste that day. Usually when we go to Disney World, we don't go to a park that first night. We also usually don't have annual passes, but we usually check in the hotel, go to Disney Springs. But since Epcot opened at 11, we really hadn't missed any of the morning hours. So I was like, okay, this would be a great day to plan our Epcot day. I'd planned this, though. Keep in mind, I'd already booked our Epcot reservation, a month before. So this was already in the works a month or month and a half before. So we pull into Epcot. The parking lot isn't really, it's not full. The trams aren't running, which is fine. You don't really need to do a tram. Now, since we are staying on property, we did get in free. We're also annual pass holders. And I can't remember if annual pass holders get free parking, but I think we do. But we're also staying on property, so I think they scanned our ban and we were able to park for free even before checking in. So we go to the ticket counter because I don't have a ticket for my son to get in. Or actually, no, I do have like a 2-day ticket, but we hadn't checked in yet, and I actually needed to upgrade it. So we all tried to get through the gates, and we couldn't, or my son couldn't use his magic band. It didn't work. Even though his tickets were linked, we hadn't checked in yet, which hadn't activated his 2-day ticket that was already on the account. So I let my husband and the 2 girls go ahead to try to ride a ride, and I went back with my 3-year-old to get his ticket sorted out. It did take, probably took about 20 minutes to sort everything out, but it was fine. I mean, that's okay. It's expected. The cast members are very limited on what they're able to do with ticket sales right now. I wanted to upgrade his ticket to an annual pass, but they're not doing any annual pass at this time. We didn't have a ticket before in advance for him because ticket sales were closed for forever. And because we can't upgrade to an annual pass, I had to just upgrade his basic 2-day ticket in order to do that where we could enter the park that day with him. Now, we're annual pass holders, so we can go at any time, me and the rest of the kids and my husband. But because he's not, we have to be checked in at the hotel before his ticket could actually work. So luckily, when you go to Disney World, the cast members are usually pretty great. Just plan some time. They will technically check in for you, or at least try to check in for you. I don't know if it worked. I think the lady kind of bypassed the system. But anyway, we got his ticket updated, and he was able to get in. I had to pay a little bit extra, of course, for an upgraded ticket, but it was fine. The thing that's going on at Epcot that's really cool is a Taste of the Food and Wine Festival. Food and Wine Festival is It's a really neat event that happens in the fall. Guess what's served? Yes, food and wine. There's different food booths. Much like some of the other festivals, there's different little tiny plates to try from different countries along the World Showcase and just along Epcot in general. And I was so excited. Like, this was the thing I was looking forward to the most because I've never made it to Food and Wine. It's always during the fall. But because of COVID, they decided to open it up for the summer, which is great. My kids wanted to ride the rides, of course, but I couldn't wait to have the food. So when going into Epcot, you got to make a choice. You can, like when you're starting to do like around the countries, you got to make a choice. Do you go left towards Mexico, or do you go right towards Canada? Well, we were already on the right side because we had attempted to do Soarin', but for some reason that whole area was shut down. We aren't sure why, but we couldn't go on Soarin'. We couldn't go on Living with the Land. So we did the Finding Nemo ride in the aquarium, which is really neat. There's lots of places to explore with the aquarium. It's called the Seas Pavilion. It's really neat. The ride, of course, is fine. All your little kids will like it. But there's just different, fish and shark and manatee. There's all sorts of things to look at. It's a great place to go, especially if it's raining. And it's right by the Land Pavilion. So we decided to do that, and then we headed towards Canada. Now, Canada had some food booths. They had this soup, this cheddar cheese and bacon soup. That came with like half of a French baguette bread, and then they had a steak, like with a little bit of, I think, like a cheese sauce or something on it. I can't exactly remember what the names were, but it was like a filet or maybe a piece of tenderloin, something like that. We got those. Oh my gosh, they were so good. That cheese soup was amazing. This may have been the only thing for the whole trip I actually got more of. Our trip, I actually got seconds later on that evening. The steak was also good too, surprisingly, for a small, like, it's kind of like fast food. It's like a little window. It's just this little bitty building, like a little shed that serves food. And everything ranges anywhere between like $5 and $11 or so, usually around $7 or $8 for these different dishes. It was great. I also kind of doubled back and I went towards this citrus stand that had a little bit of like a lobster, I can't even remember what you would call it, like a little lobster. I think it's supposed to come with like a lemon sauce or something like that. And it also had a piece of chicken, like a breaded chicken. It was not so great. They do serve this like a orange wine slushy thing at the citrus place. I thought it tasted a lot like a creamsicle. It was fine if that's your thing. If I'm going to be drinking some sort of slushy, though, I need it to be like a tad sour, and it wasn't. Like, if it's just sweet with ice, not my thing. My husband liked it a lot. After that, we headed towards the UK Pavilion. Now, here was really cool. They had Alice from Alice in Wonderland. She was up in a gazebo taking pictures. Now, the kids had to kind of wait at the bottom of the stairs, but she was up, more than 6 feet apart. But I got some really cute pictures of the kids and Alice. And so it was kind of neat because it felt like a real character interaction because she talked to them and everything. The only thing different is we just didn't like hug her, which is fine. There's no awkward hugs. There's no germs. It was actually great. We moved along to the France Pavilion though. And this is where they had some sort of, I think it was like a goat cheese tart. It's like a piece of bread with some cheese and some garlic, and it was delicious. It doesn't really look that great, but it was amazing. Now, the thing here to get, though, for food and wine, is the frosé. This frosé, I mean, rosé, wine, frozen slushy, holy moly, it was so good. Y'all, and I'm not a drinker, but I felt like I drank a lot this trip. We didn't fill up because our next stop was the quick service location in France. And this is I don't even know how you say it, Les Halles. I'm American, but also took a few years of French, but also some Spanish. So I get my pronunciations wrong. Whatever. It's called Les Halles. Y'all know that was a joke, but Les Halles. It's in the back of the French Pavilion, and back here, it was mainly just for dessert, but I saw that ham and cheese croissant, and I had to have it. But I got the macarons. It's not macaroons in France. It's macarons or something. It's spelled like macaron. I don't know how to say it. Someone help me out, please. Please, someone of my one listeners, help me out. How do I say this? But anyway, those are so good. They have they're like pink and they're filled with this lime cream. To me, it's very reminiscent of key lime pie with raspberries. It's really good. We also got a strawberry tart. Strawberry tart is fine, but nothing beats those macarons. We kept walking. It started raining, got the ponchos out. Now, keep in mind, this, Epcot for us just isn't a ride-centered park. So the goal here was shop around and eat, pretty much. And hopefully get on a few rides. We walked around. The crowds were very low, very light. It wasn't even a big deal. I wasn't even, worried about crowds. And I guess now's a good time to say, like, there were hand sanitizer stations everywhere, hand washing stations in different places. Everyone wore a mask, like 99% compliance there. Everyone wore a mask. You're not allowed to eat and drink and keep your mask down and like walk at the same time. You have to go off to like the side. You if you're going to eat something from Food and Wine Festival, you better stop what you're doing and pull your mask down and go off to the side, because you're not allowed to do that while you're walking, which is great. I mean, because that's, that helps keep everyone safe. But I felt very safe and comfortable here at Epcot. The low crowds plus the cast members were very compliant, and they also enforced it in a polite way. They would, if any of us ever had our mask down, and they saw us, people would very politely tell us to, pick it up. No big deal. So at that point, I think we went to the Tokyo Pavilion just for my kids to look around. My kids love going into, I think it's called like Mitsukoshi's or something like that. It is a Japanese themed department store. It has everything from toys and gadgets and magnets and clothing and candy, and it's all like Japanese. And they're, like Japanese has some really weird but cool stuff. Like, there's just so much there. It's just a really cool store to look into. Now, while the kids were looking and browsing for souvenirs and toys and Japanese candy, I went ahead and left my husband there to go on to Germany. And in Germany, I had one mission and one mission only, and that was to go to Caramel Couche. I call it Caramel Cucci. Caramel Cucce. Yeah, we can get kind of dirty with that pronunciation, but you get my drift. It's like Caramel Couche. Help me out, German speakers. So, of course, there I got a few bags of the caramel popcorn, a few caramel butter bars, and they are to die for. And these, I can't even tell you all how much I looked forward to this. I've been looking forward to these since my last trip. I also, to make sure my husband stayed happy, since he was in charge of all three kids in a store where they're running crazy, I made sure to get him one of those famous German beers. They're called like Schofferhofen. I don't know what they're called. Anyway, it's a grapefruit beer, and he really liked it. This was just a great time in history, really, to take pictures at Epcot. And so I took a lot of pictures of the architecture. I took a lot of pictures of the surroundings, because there just wasn't a lot of people, and it was the middle of the day. So usually if you come in the very early mornings or late at night, the crowds may not be there, but this is like the middle of the day. And so it was just great to take some pictures everywhere. We walked through the American Pavilion, looked at the little train station, which was always cool. We decided to go on a ride. We kept on going straight past. We went past Frozen. I think Frozen Ever After may have been shut down, maybe, or the line was super long, so we decided not to get into it. Even though this is our only Epcot day and we weren't going back, I knew that later on that evening we would probably try to hit Frozen. So we decided to go on the Three Caballeros ride through the Mexican Pavilion. This is the ride with Donald and his other like bird friends. And this ride does not get enough credit, y'all. It really doesn't. It is so cute and gives you like a little tour of Mexico, all the famous tourist spots in Mexico. It kind of gives you a little glimpse of some of the cliche things to do in those little hot spots. But it's a really cute boat ride. And it's just a really nice atmosphere. It's a nice setting. So, that is the Three Caballeros at the Grand Fiesta Tour. I think that's what it's called. Now, I think at that point we decided after all to go ahead and hit Frozen Ever After. Yeah, I think we did that. The wait wasn't too bad because it had just closed down and reopened. So we hit it right after it reopened. There's still a bit of a line. And again, I'm not used to waiting in lines. I usually have fast passes, but this is our only chance. So we get in line, and what's neat about getting in line at a Disney restaurant is if you do have the time to look around, just look around. Disney spares no expense on details, and we're talking little details. So it's almost entertainment. to the point where I'd say I'd kind of actually rather spend a little bit more time in the lines than I do now. As well, it'd be great if I didn't have the kids with me. Let's put it that way, because they require much of my attention. But like, for instance, in the Frozen Ever After ride, there's like little boards with different advertisements, like Oaken's Tokens, Summer Snowy Day Blowout, and it has a picture of Olaf like drawn in, and it has like 25% off refreshing Hoo Julebras, and it looks like beer. Free sun balm of his own invention. All this stuff is written down, and there's like a Royal Arendelle Playhouse, Kristoff and his lyrical tale, and it has like invitations, and it says Summer Ice now available, and it has like a wanted poster, beware the Duke of Weselton, and all of these like newspaper ads and like detailed articles, written news articles about like Prince Hans, disgraced son of the King of the Southern Isles, victim of mysterious weird weather. So, I mean, there's some really cool features here that's just neat. So the line didn't really bother me at Frozen Ever After, even though it's probably the longest line I waited in for that ride ever. And we probably waited about 30 minutes, but for Frozen, that's fine. That's actually kind of a short wait. Even when you're in the Fast Pass line, you're usually going to wait about 10 minutes. So it was really like about 20 minutes more than normal. No big deal. What was really neat is that after we walked out of the store, my kids love looking in the store. My middle kid, Martha, she bought some Elsa boots she had to have, which were actually pretty reasonable price though, by the way. So after we bought her Elsa boots, we saw a princess cavalcade, and a cavalcade is just a small parade. It was a horse-drawn carriage. It had multiple like bench seats, and it had different princesses on the benches, which was really cool. So, I mean, we had Belle and Aurora and Jasmine and Sleeping Beauty. And so each princess was on a bench, and in between the benches, like above them, there was some plastic plexiglass stuff. So the princess, I guess, were safe from each other. Now, the princesses and the cavalcades were all very far away, like more than 6 feet. So the princesses themselves did not wear masks, but all the other staff did. Our next stop was I think I got my husband a beer, and we tried some of the Impossible snacks at one of the stands. It's kind of on the way out of the Mexican Pavilion. I can't recall what it is, but it's like a Impossible burger, and then there was like an Impossible meatball, and both were excellent. Very unique kind of Asian, Indian, African flavors there. Very, very good. Oh my God. And my family, when we ordered it, they had no idea they weren't eating meat. That's how good it was. We also saw another cavalcade with, we saw Mickey and Minnie, and we saw Goofy and Pluto. So we got some characters, and we were right by, we're 6 feet apart, but they waved at us, and it was neat just having that bit of interaction with them, and we got some really good pictures, so it was really cool. Our next stop, we decided to leave Epcot around 4:30. I knew that Epcot, since it closed at 9, we would be able to just come back. So the plan was to go check in for 4:30, something like that, then head back to Epcot around 6. We just wanted to kind of unpack and just refresh, and the kids might be able to take a teeny tiny nap in the car. So we headed over to Polynesian, and this was our first time staying there. So we pull up, and my husband parks under kind of the check-in lobby awning, and I go in, and you're just immediately immersed, in that fantastic Disney theming, and it's just beautiful. And you walk in, and like before you even get to the lobby, you kind of have to cross, it looks kind of like a bridge, but there's like water features and lush tropical plant life, and there's tiki torches. I mean, you're immediately, from the moment you enter, even under the porch area, you're immediately just immersed in, the whole Disney theming of it. So you go in, and it's a big, beautiful lobby. The floors are all like black, shiny obsidian, lava floor. I don't know. They're very shiny rock, shiny stone floors. It's fantastic. I was the only one checking in at that time, so there was like 4 different cast members that were able to help me. It took a minute to get checked in. I don't know why this happens. There's just you just never know. It's never really as smoothly as it's supposed to go. But after about 20 minutes, a manager had to be called. We had to get some things switched up with the Magic Band. And at some point, I think I even ended up having coming back because one of the Magic Bands didn't work to open up the door. But anyway, we drove to the DVC side, which there's a few buildings that are dedicated to Disney Vacation Club properties. And this is where we had to stay. I guess this is where everybody's staying because the actual Polynesian itself is not open. Like the technical hotel isn't open, but the DVC scene, I mean, it's open, y'all. The Polynesian's open. Okay, so the technical hotel rooms at Polynesian aren't available. But the DVC hotel rooms might be a little bit bigger, but they're the same, y'all. They're the same. They just have a little few more features. But okay. So anyway, we parked in the DVC side, and the Polynesian is one of those where there is like one huge, the big building, the main building that has a restaurant, but most of the rooms are spread out across property in their own separate little buildings, other longhouses, I think they're called. Luckily with the Polynesian, these rooms are usually big, and they have balconies. I think all of them have balconies or patios. We didn't pay anything extra for our room, so we didn't get like a great view. We just got a parking lot view, but I mean there was trees and stuff. I mean it wasn't direct only pavement. I mean we had a view of tiki torches and some palm trees and a little bit of the parking lot. But we get inside, and it's a good size like hotel room. So if you think of like a standard size hotel room, it's just slightly bigger. It's about the same sort of layout. So you walk in, there's a hallway, bathroom area to your left, closet to the right, and then bigger, we got one regular bed, and then we had a pull down kind of Murphy bed situation. No, we didn't. It wasn't a Murphy bed. What am I talking about? It was just a couch bed that folded out, which was fine. It worked. It was great. That's what we needed. But they also have this fifth sleeper bed that's hidden, like underneath the TV. It looks like you have like a cabinet, a cabinet armoire or something like underneath the TV. But it actually pulls down into a fifth bed, which was a perfect size for my 9-year-old. So there was plenty of spots to sleep, and we could also, to make the room feel bigger, we could pick the beds up. Both of the sleeper sofa and that fifth sleeper, those could pick up for more space. We didn't. I mean, it's just kind of a hassle for us. We didn't. But what's neat about this room is there's two enclosed bathroom areas. One bathroom has your toilet, a sink, and a bathtub. Bathtub with a shower, a standard hotel bathtub. That's enclosed, and you get closed off from the hallway. You go like 1 foot down the hallway, there's another little enclosed bathroom with its own separate door, and it is a sink and vanity and a shower. And this shower is nice and done in rock. It's really, modern but Polynesian style. It's really nice. So it's neat to have these two separate areas. So normally when you think of hotel bathrooms, there might be like a little vanity to get ready and then your bathtub. There may be some separation there. I would have loved it if there was two different commodes, but I guess that's asking too much. But we loved the size of the room. I loved the decor. I mean, it felt like Disney. I loved having a patio. Now that I'm thinking back, I wish I would have paid a little bit extra to upgrade it to a different view, because my husband and I really like spending time on patios, especially when the kids go to sleep. Like, he likes to have a few beers. I may join him for some celebratory champagne or something. We do like that scenery. It was fine, though. We didn't care. We were just happy to be back on property. The Polynesian is one of those resorts where there's usually tons of stuff to do. There's actually a few pools, but all the hours have changed for everything. Like, they had their main pool, the volcano pool, is open till 9. And I believe their other pool, it's like a smaller but still a pretty big size pool and hot tub area, that closed I think at 11, which I liked. I was happy that they were open. I was really worried that the pools and the hot tubs wouldn't be open. Like, when I go on vacation, I need a hot tub, y'all. I need a hot tub. I must sit in hot water. I don't care how germy they are. I need to sit in them. The hot tub at the volcano pool, wow. It is like on the beach, overlooking the lake. I mean, it is beautiful. And for those of you who don't know, the Polynesian is a deluxe resort right across the lake, right across the lagoon, Seven Seas Lagoon, from the Magic Kingdom. I mean, you can see the Magic Kingdom from the beach of the Polynesian. Now, I didn't have a shot of the Magic Kingdom because there were trees blocking it, but the hot tub overlooks the Seven Seas Lagoon, directly looking at the beach and towards the beautiful, beautiful Grand Floridian Hotel. And there weren't a lot of people. So, I mean, when I got in the hot tub and it was hot, ooh, God, y'all, it was hot. I love a good hot tub. When hot tubs aren't hot enough, it's just a letdown. But this was a good hot tub. So I loved getting in there. And when I could sneak away from the kids, I did sit in it. The volcano pool has this awesome kid area. It has a great splash pad, slides, little swim hole area for kids. Now, it gets about, I don't know, 2 feet deep. Maybe not that deep. There was like a little, most of it's just shallow walk through splash pad. But there was one middle section where if I really wanted my 3-year-old to practice swimming, he probably could. He kind of sank a little bit. He thought he was wearing his floaties, and he didn't. He kind of jumped in, and he sank. It was fine. I mean, it's not deep. He stood up, and it was great. They have a slide in this section. They have a few little slides. They have a few like little toddler slides that are open. The parents could see right there. But they also have like an enclosed slide. So it's like a tube slide. It's kind of windy. It's a little one. I mean, it's not long, but it's dark, and you kind of have to have one parent at the top and one parent at the bottom if you're going with a toddler, just so they don't get scared or turned around. But it's a great little splash fortress. I don't know what else to call it, but I mean, it was perfect. I mean, there was chairs all around. I mean, you could just sit out and have a drink and watch your kids play. It was awesome. Now, the volcano pool has this great, has a great waterfall, like cave setting. You get on top of the waterfall cave, I guess it is a volcano, maybe. And there is a slide, and it's a good slide, it's a good slide. Kids waited in line. Most kids were really good about social distancing up there. They do have markers on the pavement saying like where to stand. I mean, sometimes the kids may have needed a reminder, and you know how little kids are, like, if they don't get to go on the slide right away, they may, like, jump to the line and try to go, and I'd be like, just wait a second, honey, I gotta go with my son, you can't cut in front of me, kid. But it was great, and there is a walk-up bar that you can go to get drinks. The walk-up bar, I thought, was pretty slow. The service was pretty slow. I was in a line of there were probably 3 people in front of me, but because these are bar drinks, and a lot of people, when you're out by a pool, like a tiki bar, think about like fancy tiki drinks. Everyone wants them, me included, but it just took forever because there was only one bartender. He was also servicing 2 different windows. So he's servicing like one open window for everyone inside the gates, inside the pool area. But there's also a walk-up area. So even if you're not staying at the Polynesian, you could still walk up to the pool bar on this one window and order a drink. This is really great to know, y'all, because if you ever just want to kind of browse these deluxe resorts around the Seven Seas Lagoon, there's a walkway between like Grand Floridian and Polynesian. This would be a really great opportunity while you're wanting to walk on the beach or back towards the Grand Floridian. Just stop in and get a drink to go and go walk. Get you a to-go drink. And I had no idea this was even there or this would even be offered because it's the Polynesian pool bar, but it's available for everyone. So it went a little slow, but it was fun. And so by the time we actually paid, our drinks had kind of become a little bit more liquidy rather than frozen. I'd kind of wanted like a frozen strawberry daiquiri. But like the guy, since he kept taking turns, he didn't finish my order and make me pay. He would like finish part of my order, get some other people's order, then finish the rest of it, then finish the rest of theirs, then show me my ticket. So I'm not gonna lie, it was a teeny tiny bit frustrating, but it was fun. I mean, who cares? It wasn't that big a deal in the grand scheme of life. I'm not going to complain to any management about a drink while I'm at the Polynesian on this luxurious, beachfront property. It wasn't a big deal. So that was that pool. The other pool is one to go to. Like we went to this one once when the other pool was closed, because the other pool closes, like I said, at 9. I think this was around 10 o'clock. We wanted to go swimming one night, and it's like a zero entry pool or whatever. You just kind of walk in, and it's just a great pool for swimming and just playing with friends. There's nothing too special about it. There's lots of seating around. There actually is a bar around it, but I don't think that bar's open at this time of year. It definitely wasn't open, when we were there, but I assume when there's not coronavirus, it could be open. And if it is open, this would be a great place to hang out, because there was some seating, not just around the pool, but it was almost like a little cafe seating in a way. Anyway, there's also a hot tub that is kind of near the pool. Now, it's not one of those hot tubs where you could necessarily sit in the hot tub and watch your kids play. That's the only downside. But it was fine. It was separated, so I didn't have to watch my kids. My husband and I often take turns watching kids, and so when he would watch them, I'd get in the hot tub. And when I was watching him, he'd sit back and fall asleep and drink beer. But it was neat. It was a lot. It was the pools are great. Polynesian, awesome property. I'd love to actually stay there again when it's not coronavirus. Let me go ahead and jump to the restaurant options at Polynesian while we're there. I was going to finish up my Epcot day, but let's go ahead and talk about their restaurant options. Now, usually they have more options. Right now they have Kona Cafe and Captain Cook's. And I think that's about it for your food options. Usually they have Ohana, and they have the Trader Sam's and the Tambu Tambu Lounge. Those were not available. So I'm not even going to talk about them. I mean, it's kind of a bummer because they're supposed to be amazing. But what I will say is that we did go to Captain Cook's, I think, 2 or 3 times. The Captain Cook's is like a quick service fast food. This is a great spot to go for like breakfast, lunch. I mean, you get your food if you don't want to go to a restaurant and sit down. I will say, I loved the food we got here. I loved it. For breakfast, we got this breakfast flatbread. I don't know if they called it a flatbread or if they called it a breakfast pizza. Regardless of what it is, y'all, get it. It's like gravy and sausage and bacon. Oh, it is so good. And eggs. Oh, it was so good. I liked it so much one night, I got it again the second night. And it's big enough where you can share. Like, so we got one and split it between the 5 of us, and it was fine. We got that and maybe another pastry or side item, and that was plenty. We also I got a snack there, so I grabbed some. They have these coconut meatball things. Now what they are, it's more like meatballs, but they're served in like this. I think it's got some coconut milk or something in the gravy, the sauce, and it's over rice. And y'all, it was so good. It was delicious. And I'm not really into things that are too sweet flavored. They had soy sauce on the side, so I threw some soy sauce on it, and it was even better. But these were really good. Go get those meatballs. You will like them. They're very good. My husband and I, we hid them from our kids so that they didn't eat them. My older daughter did see us eating it, and I think she did get a bite, and maybe my other daughter. But we tried to hide them. Like, I'm not kidding. We tried to hide them. But there was enough rice. There was a little bit of rice left over that you could have, like, put some soy sauce on and really made a little extra dish there. It was so good. The problem with Captain Cook's is the service is so slow. I mean, so slow, y'all. And I'm sure this is all corona related. I'm sure it's not like this on a normal basis. But we mobile order. So when you mobile order, you order your food and pay for it ahead of time. And then when you're there, you tell them you're here. Well, even if you told them you were there, it took them probably 20 to 30 minutes to actually prepare the food. And that was very, very, very frustrating, because you go up thinking you've already ordered your food. You tell them you're there, and like, I would wait a few minutes. So I would say, oh, I'm here, but actually I wasn't there. I was like 5 minutes from being there. But by the time I got there, they still, 25, 30 minutes. And y'all, that's honestly for Disney food, like if you're at a restaurant, that is not a big deal. But this is supposed to be quick service. And so when you think quick service, you think, okay, I'm just going to go grab some food for my family. They're out by the pool. Kids are hungry. This is not what I would call quick at all. So while it's called quick service, expect it to be long service. However, I will say it's worth the wait. I mean, just plan for it. If you ever do go to Captain Cook's, just plan to wait. Nobody minded. Everyone was entertained. Like if we were at the pool, the kids were fine. They were entertained at the pool. The other option to eat would be Tacona Cafe. We've been there once to have the Tonga toast, and we really liked it. Now, Captain Cook's does have Tonga toast. Tonga toast is a breakfast dish, and it's like this big old honking square of toast that's got cinnamon sugar on either all the sides of it. In the middle is usually banana. The Tonga toast at Kona Cafe from several years ago was awesome. It was so good, I couldn't wait to get it again. The Tonga toast at Captain Cook's at the quick service just left me lacking and not really liking Tonga toast anymore. So there must be a difference. And I'm not real sure. I think like it seems like at Kona, it just, and this may be just not true. They may have just changed it up. But it seemed like at Kona, I thought there was more banana filling than the Tonga toast we had at Captain Cook's. And the Captain Cook's Tonga toast, it just seemed a little drier than it should be. I'm not sure why. I mean, there were people, I think they were cooking it right then. So who knows what happened. Another thing I did like about, you could order just some bagels, quick things to go. If you ordered a drink, you had a cast member that would fill it up at the fountain. So, they were limiting the spread of germs. People couldn't just go in there and refill. They had actual dedicated cast member there refilling drinks. So now I felt safe. I felt socially distanced. There was never any problems like that. But it's just really long service. And the people, they would just kind of look at you. They would never even ask if you needed anything, or not that they had to apologize or anything. But, they were just kind of inattentive. They would, I don't know, service wasn't their main focus, but whatever. Great food. Highly recommend. Captain Cook's, just, you're going to have to wait for it. All right, so back to our first actual park day. We go back to Epcot, and we ended up going to Test Track first. We went left, I guess you could say, going into Epcot, and we went to Test Track, which is kind of like a car ride. And my son, he's never been big enough to, do a lot of the big kid rides. But the guy that was measuring him outside said he was close enough to 40 inches that he could probably ride. Now, to be fair, he probably isn't quite 40 inches. He's probably, like just a hair. But really, with the right shoes and the right way he's standing, he's passable if they don't, like, overly scrutinize it. So he was able to get on a big boy ride. And I know this ride. I'm comfortable with him going on. I think he's 40 inches. Literally, I don't know, less than an eighth an inch away. He's so close. With different shoes on, he would have been over the line. So he gets on. None of the cast members are worried. He's good and strapped in. He rode with us. He loved it. He loved Test Track. So much fun. Now, we tried to do this again. We went over to Soarin'. We tried to ride Soarin' with him, but they weren't budging. They were like, no, he's not 40 inches. We did not fight that because we were just so happy he was able to get on Test Track. So, y'all, we weren't going to be Karens at this point and be like, wow, this is messed up. Okay, we felt like we'd kind of gotten away with it once, so we weren't going to press our luck too bad. And we were fine with taking turns riding Soarin'. My girls love Soarin'. It's just a great kind of a flying virtual ride. Got lots of scenery and scents. It's a fun Disney ride. Like when I think of Epcot, I think of Soarin'. It's just a classic ride at this point. Now, while my son can't get on rides, I like to spoil the kids that can't get to do the fun stuff. So my son, my 3-year-old, and I, we went down to Sunshine Seasons Cafe, and that's inside the Land Pavilion right outside of Soarin'. And I got him this plant-based chocolate mousse, like chocolate cookie mousse. It was so good. It's weird that it's called plant-based because I couldn't tell at all. I thought it was just going to be kind of boring pudding, but it was really yummy. And it was like layered in like Oreo crumbles or something. Like it was so good, and he loved it. The day that we went to Epcot, like there was kind of an overcast, and it was an overcast skies at night, so the weather was perfect. It wasn't hot. It wasn't like crazy humid. It was amazing. We tried some more of the foods there. So we did those 2 rides, and we did some more of the festival foods. I went back for some more cheese soup because I had to. We went a little bit further down. So right in, I guess right before kind of the UK pavilion, in between UK pavilion and Canada pavilion, there's this bigger festival space that's just dedicated for food and wine. So there's more booths inside, and it's a bigger like showroom area. So we went inside this, and y'all, they had the best mac and cheese. There were several different types of mac and cheese. There was like a lobster mac, like a regular traditional mac. I can't remember what it's called, but you know, a regular one. And then they had a buffalo chicken mac and cheese. All right, so I pulled up an actual menu, so I know the names of it. Okay, it's gourmet. Ooh, yeah, the gourmet mac and cheese. It was like a big old scoop of gourmet mac and cheese. Now, this was served with a big old, like, smaller scoop of this Boursin cheese, this garlic and fine herb cheese sauce topped with herbed panko, and it was for $4.50. Y'all, oh my gosh, please give this back to me. I want it again so bad. I would say that the buffalo mac and cheese was a very close second. It was served with Boursin, garlic, and fine herb cheese sauce. Oh, God. Y'all, it was so good. And if you're not if you're more of a vegetarian, they also have a plant-based option that's served with house-made Italian sausage and peppers. We didn't try that, nor did we try the lobster mac and cheese. But, man, that Boursin, they know what they're doing when they make some mac and cheese. I'll tell you what. Also, things that we tried in that same space, we tried these nitro, like frozen cake pops. They weren't actually like frozen. They dip these cake pops. There's like these big old chunks of cake that are like dipped in chocolate and then dipped in they're like frozen, the nitrous oxide, what do you call that stuff? I don't know. They dip it. They dip it in the stuff. Like when you used to have a science experiment and the guy would dip the flour in it and then he'd, take it out and it'd be all like foggy and then he'd crush that flour right then and there. It'd like turn into glass. It's like that. Nitrous oxide. Don't you call it nitro? Whatever. We had that. And it was a cake pop dipped in it. And so, like, right at first, it's all kind of frozen. And you can have, like, a topping on it. So, I think we had, like, Twix on one and some M&Ms on another. And it was really good. And these were huge, okay? When I was thinking cake pops, I was thinking, like, a little bitty ball. No, these are big pieces. Like, these, I should have just got one, really. Because we got 2 of them for all of us. But we didn't need 2. We only needed 1. They are big. But it's really cool. It's a really neat presentation. It's just fun to watch. So I have a video. If I can find it, I'll throw it up there on our Facebook page. Now, that winds up our first day. It was a great day. We got done most of everything that we wanted to accomplish. I wanted to eat lots of food, and I wanted to try a lot of stuff I'd heard things about. That soup and the steak, and I really wanted to try the French stuff. I mean, we tried so much. There's probably some things I haven't mentioned, and just keep in mind they were probably good. I love Epcot. It's such a great foodie park. The rides there are great, low crowds. It was awesome. And what was sad about leaving Epcot this time was knowing that we couldn't go back this trip. Even for like an hour, even for just a meal, we couldn't go back. The reservation system that you have to have now doesn't allow park hopping, and it's just a bummer. There's no other way around it. It's a bummer, but I know it's, Disney World's doing what they have to do to keep everyone as safe as possible so that they can open. So, I can't blame Disney. So that'll probably wrap it up for this episode. Since I've already talked about our resort, talked about Epcot, the next episode I'll probably wrap up the trip report, just going back through, our days at Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom, go through some food dishes that we tried, and maybe some tips for all of you who are going to Disney or any theme park during this time. Feel free to get in contact with me on Facebook at our Facebook page, which is Roadtrip WDW. You can also occasionally find some pictures on Instagram at Roadtrip WDW Podcast. If you have any comments or want to tell me actually how to pronounce something, feel free. Please reach out, y'all. It's sad. I don't know how to pronounce anything correctly. And all right, road trippers. That'll do it for today. See you real soon.